Welcome to another video. If you've been following along with my journey, this will be a bit of a throwback, but I really wanted to compile a video of my first year with a motorcycle. So maybe grab a drink and a snack and cozy up because this one is probably going to be a bit longer than usual. These first clips are from my first day of practicing, which is my first time sitting on a motorcycle with it turned on. I had Nick ride the bike to parking lots for me for like the first 3 weeks. The bike felt so tall and heavy, I even had a hard time like putting my feet on the ground, and it was scary to lift my foot to shift. I guess everything just felt pretty unstable, or it was unstable because I did end up dropping the bike 2.5 times. I say 2.5 because one of the times I kind of slowly laid it down instead of falling over. But yeah, basically 3 times I dropped the bike within my first month. So first day, I just really spent time walking the bike around. I didn't even give it throttle on the first day. I realized that's a lot harder now because I was turning while idling, which is just really funny. I started to add a little throttle on my first few days, and then I had the confidence to shift on my 3rd day of practicing. I continued to practice in parking lots until I felt ready to go on a short ride to a coffee shop, which was like less than a 10-minute ride with only a couple of turns. And then for the rest of the first month, I would sprinkle in some short rides in between my parking lot practice. I'm trying to get better at starting from a stop and not bog the engine as much. I also need to practice stopping because that's the only time I've gotten off balance and dropped the bike. But I'm trying to get over this thing I have of not doing things because I'm not instantly good at them. This was during winter, so I didn't get to practice every day because of the weather, but I did try to get out when the weather was nice, so maybe at least a couple times a week. I was very slow starting from a stop, and I was pretty afraid to give it a lot of throttle. I will say that hitting the milestones was really fast at the beginning, and as I started to progress, it started getting slower and slower, but just more specific. So month 2, I just increased the number of street rides that I did, and they were mostly pretty short and slower speed limits. I did get up to around 40 miles per hour, and I captured that moment on a windy day.
It's so windy, I can't! I can't even, I'm so scared! Push the gear out!
So this month I really just focused on repetition and practicing accelerating, braking, slow speed stuff in parking lots, and then starting and stopping on a hill, just all those things. Also being in traffic.
Wait for this guy, I'll wait for everyone because I'm fucking terrified.
I was obviously very cautious and very defensive, and I did watch a lot of videos on how to ride around cars. This turn was marked as a 10-mile-per-hour turn, and it kind of psyched me out, and I definitely wasn't looking through the turn. So month 3, I did more short trips, like to the grocery store and to go get gas. I also went off-road for the first time and on a longer ride, and I honked at someone, so that was fun. The weather was just starting to warm up a little bit and get a little bit less rainy, so I wanted to be prepared for summer when it did get nice out and I could actually go on some fun rides. With that said, Nick did take me and the bike up to a mountain, and I got a little practice off-roading, which, I mean, could only do so much with street tires, but it was really good practice for balancing and riding at slower speeds, and it was a lot of fun. The drone shots also helped it look a lot more epic than it felt. Meanwhile, it's just me struggling to turn around.
I can't push it back at all. Making sure to watch out for cars. Okay.
It's month 4 and it's spring, and you know what's better than riding a motorcycle? Riding a motorcycle with a friend. And that's exactly what I started doing with my friend Shiori. She bought a bike right after I got this bike. I started going on rides with her around this time, and probably after this, over half the rides I went on were with her. So it was really helpful and a lot of fun. And just look how beautiful it was. This was the nicer weather that I had been waiting for, and it just got me even more excited for the summer.
This is such a good day. Should I try to stand up? That's like actually kind of scary to think about for some reason. Ah!
So around this time on my 4th month, I really started to notice the muscle memory kicking in. I wasn't having to think about every little thing so much, like when to shift, when to brake, which foot is doing what, like everything was kind of becoming a little bit more automatic, and I was able to enjoy the ride a lot more. It was almost easier to be more cautious and aware of other cars and stuff because I wasn't thinking so hard about how to ride a bike.
I'm going 57. That's the fastest I've ever gone.
Okay, month 5. This marks the start of going on longer rides, so a 50-mile round trip ride with Shiori, which was really good for practicing turns at a little bit higher speeds. I also started thinking about getting ready to take my endorsement test, so I did more parking lot practice, including like emergency stops, U-turns, figure eights, all that fun stuff. Like I said earlier, the progress seems to have slowed down a little bit. Like every time I go out, I'm not doing some big milestone, but looking back at this, I am noticing how my shifting was pretty slow and not very smooth. Downshifting wasn't very smooth. I wasn't rev matching. So there are like little things that I notice now, but at the time, those things were just becoming more muscle memory. So wasn't something that I had to think super hard about. It was just happening over time as I practiced. So really like just time in the seat is what seemed to help at this point the most. With that said, on average, I probably only practiced like 1 to 3 times a week. Different weeks, sometimes were none and some were more, but with a full-time job and a bunch of other hobbies, I feel like that was about all I could squeeze in at this time. So I tried not to beat myself up too much if I couldn't go every day. At the beginning, I was like, well, I need to go every day or I'm not going to get good, Like, I need to be on this and practicing, and that's just not the reality. Like, you can still get better at these things and not do them every single day. And I just learned for myself that this needed to be fun and not like an obligation. I think so often I have this perfectionist mentality that if I'm not super good at something right away or I don't progress ridiculously fast, then I have a hard time enjoying myself. So I think that learning to ride a motorcycle has actually been really good for my mental health in that way, where I've learned that you don't have to put yourself in some box or hold yourself to some unrealistic standard, and you can just have fun going at your own pace. And I was seeing progress even if it wasn't super fast, and I was just having fun with my friend and outside in nature and seeing things in a way I wouldn't usually see them. So yeah, I guess that's my sappy take for this episode, and I'll shut up now. But this guy was playing music at the park, and it was pretty cool, but it was also super hot, so I couldn't stay for very long. Good, I'm just listening to this music. The rear brake is my friend.
Yeah, I'm kind of scared of the freeway because I've never gone like 60 I went like 58 or something one time, but I mean, I can accelerate pretty quick up to 40 and it's basically the same thing, but...
Like this, right?
What is this guy doing?
Next to your chest.
Kinda, yeah.
So month 6 was a lot more of the same, but I definitely was starting to gain confidence each time I went out, even if it was just a little bit. Enough so that I tried to ride with Nick on the back, but in a parking lot only because it was kind of sketchy. But yeah, riding just became something for fun and for a challenge and to see weird things like this.
I don't know. Wait, this is metal. Doesn't look real. It's very weird.
So this was another adventure that Shiori and I went on, which was just a ride to a river where we went to dip our feet in and eat snack. We chickened out of jumping in because it was freezing, but it was still super fun, and I started to realize that this was my favorite type of riding, just somewhere out in nature, twisty roads, out of the city, off of the freeways.
Wow.
Looking back at this footage, I was kind of surprised to see that I wasn't always trying to rev match downshift when coming to a stop, or even when I would slow down. I would just pull in the clutch and coast to a stop. I wasn't utilizing engine braking at all, which wasn't great.
Gotta be watching out for that. Riding just to ride. Because sometimes I feel like I get too worried about which turn is coming up or where I'm going, and I don't just explore around, so pavement is too smooth, sketchily smooth. I'm good. I'm in the slow lane, but we're doing it. Oh, it felt so weird to stop after going that fast.
Month 7 was a pretty eventful month for me. I took my endorsement class and test with my friend Shiori, and we both passed, so that was really cool. I also went on a fairly long ride and got a lot of experience on the freeway, around semi-trucks, passing cars, being at higher speeds for long periods of time, going on a 3-hour ride and then another 2-hour ride. So I think this was a really good way to get a lot of experience really fast. With that said, a lot of the practice that we did was in parking lots because we knew that's what was going to be on the endorsement test. I'm someone who gets pretty bad test anxiety, so when I took the permit test and my plan for the endorsement test was to do the class ahead of time, which you don't have to do. You can go in and just take the test and be done with it pretty fast, but my plan was to sign up for the whole class, just to be more prepared physically, mentally for the test at the end of the day. If you've seen my video about the day that I took the endorsement class and test, you would know that that's kind of rough, and if I did it again I would probably just take the test and warm up on my own time, but it all worked out and we passed and we got ice cream after, so all of our problems went away and we were endorsed. So I have a couple clips of the longer rides that I did, and it was just really interesting to see how much more comfortable I was going 50 miles per hour and above. I remember my first time riding on the street and going 20 miles per hour seemed ridiculously fast, so it was cool to see the progress. It was also really amazing to see Washington State in a different way. I've done this drive before, but it just felt so different on a bike, and I was able to see everything in kind of a different light. So it was a lot more immersive and a lot more sweaty.
Yeah, I think so. I don't know, we're dancing. People are honking. Yeah!
So it's already month 8 and the time is just flying by. The more comfortable I got, the more fun I was able to have. I was able to focus more on just improving my skills and going to cool places. This month, Shiori and I took our first trip to the Oregon coast together, which was kind of a milestone for us. The ride to the coast had a little bit of everything, including busy freeway riding, big bridges, and twisty roads, and tunnels. Check out this reveal. Wow. We felt really cool getting to park in the motorcycle area of the parking lot. After we got to the coast, we decided to change into our swimsuits and jump into the ocean. And if you've been to the Oregon coast, you know that it's pretty cold even in the middle of summer, so it's kind of like a cold plunge at any time of year, but definitely worth it. This month, Nick and I also did a full exhaust mod on the bike, so it got louder, which was cool.
Okay, well, it's pretty loud. Whoa. Okay, I'm in third.
And this is my first time trying it out on the freeway. With the new exhaust, I did notice my downshifts a lot more, and it really helped me hear the rev matching that I wasn't doing. And when I tried to, it was really obvious when I messed it up. So, like an unanticipated perk was that the new exhaust started to help me get better at my rev matching. And this is probably like the second day with the exhaust. So I rev matched downshift once and then I just coasted on the second one. So still not super consistent, but I was getting the feeling for it, and mostly the sound was helping me learn the timing.
Tunnel? I mean, it's not really a tunnel.
It really doesn't get much better than seeing the sunset when riding a motorcycle. Like, look at this. It's insane. Month 9 marks the first time that we went on an overnight motorcycle trip to a campground. Shiori and I rode, and Nick followed behind us in the car, so we kind of mobbed through the twistiest ride that I have been on yet. It was like no straightaways, only twists and turns, some pretty bad roads with some potholes in sections, but it was also my favorite ride that I have gone on so far, and I'm looking forward to doing it again next summer. It was just so beautiful and a great challenge. We definitely weren't pushing the limits of speed and trying to take these turns as fast as possible, but it was really good practice trying to read the road texture, avoid obstacles, look through turns, and choose better lines. It was really fun and really beautiful, but also really good opportunity to practice all of these things that I feel like I haven't been getting as much time doing with city rides or shorter rides.
It's a little better.
Riding out in nature like this is so much different than driving in a car. I've said it before, but it really hit me when Nick made the comment that we should be stopping more and walking around or seeing a viewpoint or something like that. And I realized, like, oh, I feel like I've already been just immersed and hiking, or, you know, not really, but I've already been like walking through this whole thing, and I'm not in a car cage. I'm like exposed, and I feel like I have been experiencing it. So it was just interesting, and probably my favorite part about riding so far.
You're just so used to your body doing something automatically that if there's like a change in... Where are you going, buddy? Okay. Oh, I had my blinker on, that's why. Okay, now I'm dumb. Give it too much gas when I downshift.
Even after long rides to the coast and through the forest and around town, I still like to come to parking lots and ride around in circles in a practice, like emergency braking and other little drills like that, just to make sure I don't lose my slow speed skills. For the last few months, I don't have the most footage or the best footage because, one, it was getting colder and I wasn't riding as often, and two, I got a new helmet and I hadn't completely figured out my new camera and mic setup with this helmet. But I do have some sick drone shots courtesy of Nick. This day I was practicing going back and forth, trying to accelerate quickly up to like 40 to 60 and then come to a quick stop. I accidentally did a baby clutch up, which I was kind of expecting, but it definitely was not on purpose. This might be a good time to talk about the gear that I collected over the first year. So this helmet was my first big new purchase. Before this, most of my gear was on sale or secondhand, so I wanted to kind of splurge and really protect my head. The first helmet I had was one that I had purchased at the dealership, and it had definitely been sitting on the shelf for a while. It had dust all over it and a big sticker, a big $150 sticker on it. Yeah, it was probably about time for an upgrade, since I kind of bought that thinking, oh, we'll see if I like it, and I'll upgrade later if I do. So it was time to upgrade. All of my other gear I've had basically since I started collecting gear the first week I was practicing in the parking lot. So I got the jacket off of Facebook Marketplace for like $100. I got the gloves from the dealership as well. I think they were probably less than $50. I got boots on sale on Cycle Gear for maybe $120 on like a really good sale. And then the pants I have are just like motorcycle jeans. They were fine, but if I could really choose all of my gear and get super expensive stuff, I probably would choose different things. But this all worked for now, and it was great starter gear. So maybe next year I'll look into getting some new stuff. Okay, enough yapping. Let's move on to month 11.
I gotta warm up, warm the bike up, warm the tires up, warm my brain up. Around. Oh my god, suicidal squirrel. Let's just ride around. And before all of the leaves fall off of the trees and fall turns into ugly fall, I thought it'd be fun to try to find the best, the best fall tree. Maybe like rank them or something. Like that one's pretty good.
So this is the only usable footage I have from this whole month. You can see I set up my new camera on my helmet, and the audio is only salvageable for half of this ride, so yeah, it's a work in progress. Definitely getting a little bit better at downshifting. Doesn't sound quite as awkward as before, and I'm not giving it as much gas as I was, where it was just like jerking around, so still getting the timing down, but I think that is just something that comes with time. And this is a great road to practice downshifting on because it has like 15 stop signs. So this is just a couple examples. Some of them are worse than others. I don't know, they sound okay to me, but I'm sure looking back I will have a lot to improve on them, but I think it's a good start. It's taken me a long time to actually start practicing them. I feel like I was focused on other things first, and this was kind of like an extra bonus nice thing to practice. I guess it just feels like other things were more important at the beginning, like learning how to shift, learning how to brake, learning how to turn, you know, all of that stuff. And then making the downshifts just sound better and feel better was kind of secondary to all of that. So it's cool that I'm finally at the point where most of the other things are muscle memory, and now I'm just continuing to work on smoothing everything out, which isn't the most exciting part, but honestly looking back, I am seeing little things and the little improvements that I don't really notice each time I go out, and it's really encouraging to know that even like a little bit of practice is better than nothing, and not every day has to be some crazy new thing that I'm trying, which has been a hard and good lesson for me to learn.
Okay, it is 40 degrees. It's cold.
This day I just went on a pretty short ride because I ended up not being able to feel my fingers, so I just went to get some gas and ride around town a little bit.
And wet.
Okay, so we are getting to the end of the video, and this is the last month in my first year of having a motorcycle, and definitely learned a lot. There's definitely still a lot to learn, but I would say the key things that I learned this year was, of course, the basics and fundamentals, but the repetition and time in the seat was really important for getting comfortable, as well as riding in all sorts of weather conditions and in different terrains, getting just like a wide range of experience. And that includes still practicing slow speed skills and emergency stops and U-turns and all of that fun stuff, even after I started being more comfortable on the road and with longer and more difficult rides. Something that surprised me was just how my reality kind of changed about how the bike felt. At the beginning, the bike felt unbelievably heavy and big. I don't know if it was just because of my seating position changing and getting better, but I have definitely felt more recently that the bike has kind of shrunk, and it feels a lot lighter, and it feels like I can touch the ground better, so it just feels more maneuverable. And if you would have told me that I would feel like this on my first day, I probably wouldn't have believed you. If you told me 2 years ago that I would even be riding a motorcycle, I probably wouldn't have believed you either. But I'm so glad that I decided to spontaneously get a motorcycle a year ago. I've had so much fun learning, and it's been really rewarding. I can't wait to ride more and film when the weather gets nicer this summer, and I'm looking forward to doing some longer rides with my friend Shiori. I'd like to say thank you to Nick and Shiori, because without their help and support, I don't think I would be as far along as I am now, and it's just been really helpful to have people there rooting for you and helping you learn. So thank you guys. Also, thank you to everyone watching. If you're new here, welcome, and if you've been following my journey for a while, I really appreciate you. I know there are some people that have been here since the very beginning, and I know who you are. I read all of your comments and I try my best to respond to everyone. I feel like we've built a pretty wholesome community here. I love hearing all of the stories, the advice, the updates on your own biking adventures. I just really appreciate it, and your encouragement has meant so much to me and has been incredibly motivating. I know I haven't been the most consistent, but I fully intend to keep posting as I hopefully take on bigger and better things. But it feels kind of weird because I feel like as I get more comfortable and things, I don't know, are just more automatic and I'm learning a little bit more slowly, I feel like my videos are just getting a little bit boring now, so I'll try to figure something out that's fun. I've really enjoyed learning to ride and learning to edit videos at the same time. Yeah, if you stuck around this long, thank you so much. Let me know where you're at in your journey, your favorite part of riding, and I'm just happy to be here. So I'll see you in the next one. Bye.